In this video, Mark the Pond Advisor breaks down a frog-safe pond pump setup and shows the beginner mistakes that can harm tadpoles and damage pumps. Chances are you clicked because you want moving water in a wildlife pond. Well, you're in the right place. Over to you, Mark.
Before we start digging, we've got to make sure we've got everything that we need. And for this build, we only need 6 tools. Have we got everything, Luke?
Yeah, we've got all 6 tools here.
What have we got?
So we've got a level, a hose pipe, a knife, tape measure, a shovel and a wheelbarrow.
Have you got those 6 tools in your garage? Perfect. Let's go and have a look at the pond kit now. So what we've got here is we've got everything that you need for a stillwater wildlife pond. And what we've got here is we've got, if you want to add moving water to a wildlife pond, this is what we've got here. So have you got everything that you need? Let's go through with the book and see if we've got everything, just to make sure we're not going to have to go back to the shop and get stuff.
Yeah, so in the pond kit here, we've got the underlayment,
yep,
the liner,
yep,
we've got the planting pouches,
yep,
we've got the pond detoxifier,
yep,
and the net.
Yep.
And then
for the moving water, we've got a pump.
Yeah, so we've got the pump here, the submersible filter.
Yeah.
This is the main filter for the waterfall.
Biologicals, biological.
And the bioballs, which will go inside of here.
And then we've got the pipe, and we've also got some fittings and stuff to distribute the water safely for the wildlife. So these kits are available on waterfeature.shop. And it's essentially the wildlife pond kit, and then we've got moving water options. We've got loads of different stuff, but this is the real basic one to transition from still water to moving water. Also, what you need is all of the materials, hard landscaping. So what have you got here?
So we've got our gravel for inside the pond.
Yeah.
Obviously our stones.
Yeah.
We've got some nice pieces of wood.
No, you're not using that one. That's way too big. You can use this one, but not that one. Terracotta pot?
Yeah, terracotta pot.
What's that for?
So we can create some sort of like aquatic caves and places for the wildlife.
And plants?
And then, yeah, plants, aquatic plants for inside.
So have you got everything?
Yes.
Let's go and clear the area. So Luke's taken out the plants. Now we're going to measure and mark out the pond shape with the hose and check that the ground is level or not level. So the reason why we're using a garden hose rather than spray paint is to get a visual on the pond space marked out. If you start digging, you might dig in the wrong area, and what happens if you dig in the wrong area is you penetrate the virgin soil. If you're backfilling with non-virgin soil, it will settle, it will move, it will put pressure on the pond liner. So the main reason why we use the garden hose to mark out the area is to make sure that before we start digging, before we check the levels, we know where the pond is going to go, and we can look at it from your destination spots. So it could be from a kitchen window, it could be from a patio. We can have a look at the pond and go, yeah, that's where we're going to build the pond. And also we check the measurements. When we use the garden hose, we check the measurements. So it's essentially making sure that we don't dig too big a hole for the size of the pond kit.
Just got a quick question for you, Mark.
Okay.
So, where should I be levelling the ground from? From here or sort of all the way down the base?
So essentially what we're going into is this virgin ground now. What we don't want to do is take out that virgin soil and tip it to make that level up. But what we can do is we can put a piece of sleeper in there or something that's not going to deteriorate. So if we had a log, that might deteriorate underneath the liner. So what we can do is distinguish where the water level is going to be. If you wanted to bring the water level right up to here, let's just say that you wanted water level there, then you would build a concrete retaining wall or a boulder wall here, so the boulders aren't going to settle or move because it's on virgin soil. So we could use a sleeper, we could use multiple sleepers, that's up to you. But this is a real great question. If you don't have sleepers, then you need to go down a little bit more. Happy?
Yeah.
You still with me? Put a like in the comment section. Maybe not a like, maybe a comment in the comment section. So now we're doing the final check, making sure that we've got the water level, then we can start excavating. So it's really important to make sure that you know where the water level is going to be. And actually, this isn't water level. This is the top of the freeboard. So when I talk about freeboard, it's like a splash zone or a wave zone. So what we're doing now is basically made it down to a level surface. Then we'll start digging out the pond. How we're going to dig this out is we're going to go down in a number of layers, and that will distinguish where we're going to put the filtration and the waterfall. What we want to do is we want to go down about 50 mil or 5 centimeters, then it's actually water level. So over here, this is virgin soil. We're not going to have a problem with the virgin soil being disrupted or non-virgin soil coming up here, because actually the water level is 5 centimeters below this or 50 mil below this. So this is all non-virgin. Yes, we will backfill that, but we'll probably put plants, logs, and do other things in there. But water level is not going to be any higher than this. So we've actually got a 200 mil fall on there, did we say?
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to have the waterfall. We don't want an aggressive waterfall on this particular pond. You ready to start digging?
I am.
Perfect. How are you getting on?
Yeah, all good. So I've dug down 200 mil. So we've got 50 mil of freeboards.
Yeah.
And then that will be down to the first shelf, and then just going to start digging in the filter now.
Yeah.
And then we'll go down another 150 for the next shelf.
So you're creating a smaller, shallower pocket for the waterfall box.
Yeah.
Then you'll dig out a deeper section, and also you're going to dig out a deeper section for the submersible filter and pump.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So what we're doing now, we've got the hole dug out. So we're just going to check for any sort of sharp edges, any stones or anything still in soil, remove them, and then we'll get our protective underlayment all laid under here, and then our liner, and then an overlayment just for extra protection.
So we've got the liner in, we've got the protection in. I think the best thing to do, Luke, it's starting to rain. Should we go and get some wet weather gear on?
Makes sense.
I don't need this, it's lovely. So what we've got here is we've basically got the start of a pond, and I just wanted to run through everything with you just so we know exactly what we've got. So we've got a hole that's been dug, we've cleared out as much stone and as much debris as possible, then we've got a layer of protection, then we've got the waterproof bag, which is the pond liner. Then we've got another layer of protection that goes over the top of the pond liner. And what you want to do is make sure that the first shelf is level, or it's sloping back to the actual wall of the pond rather than sloping into the pond. A lot of people dig and they dig like that. So what you want to do is you want to dig a hole that's square, or it's sloping back towards the wall. So when you stack stones, it wants to fall into the soil rather than into the hole. When you're dealing with bigger stones, a lot of the time it's machine set stuff or team lift stones. You don't really need to worry about the shelf, but ideally you want it level. But from a safety point of view, when you're using small stones, you want that shelf leaning back, because what we're going to do on here is we're going to stack a lot of small stones, because what we're doing in this hole is we're emulating what you can build in your garden, and essentially you're bringing stones in from a garden centre, so you're maybe putting in the stones in a car, or essentially it's easy to lift. We have got some big stones in here just to show you the difference, and you always want a couple of bigger stones just to break it up to make it look a lot more natural. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out the hardware of the moving water, and I'm going to take it out and put it on the table. So what we've got here is we've got the moving water element to this particular pond. So while Luke is building the pond, what I've done is I've basically made a mock-up of the edge. So I've literally put a timber down to emulate the wall of the actual pond. Then we've got the protection layer, the waterproof layer. then again another protection layer. What I want to do is highlight what most people do is they basically come in and put a load of rock in place and they forget about the planting pockets. So what happens is they come in, decoratively put all of the stones in place, and then they go, what are we going to do about plants? And then they go, we're going to put a plant in there, rather than putting in planting pockets in first. And it should be thought about before you start rocking like this. And then what you do is you rock round the front of the planting pocket. So you can see here, there's a planting pocket in there ready for a marginal plant. These are 160 mil deep. So the water level will come up to about a centimetre below the top of these. So we can plant in rafting plants, marginal plants. If you don't put in the planting pockets and you put in the rock, then what you're doing is you're shoving in plants in between the rocks. And on a frog pond, what you want to do is create a lot of cavities so the frogs can get in behind the rocks and what have you. Also, if you see on this particular configuration, all of the rocks are leaning backwards. They're not leaning into the pond, they're leaning back. So all of these rocks are stable. There's no glue, there's no cement, there's no waterfall foam on these particular ones. So if I was to put in a stone like this and you try and stand a stone on that, it's just going to want to fall into the pond. But if you put a stone in like that, it's going to fall back into the actual pond wall. So that's just a quick tip. And also what we're doing is we're creating a lot of caves in the water and out of the water. So what frogs love is they want something above their head and they want to hide. I really class frogs like army men. If you've got patios and stuff around, you need to make sure that they've got some cover, like we've got Stachyus lineata over on the pond, and I'll take you over there now. So this is Stachyus lineata. And essentially it's a case of the common name is lamb's ears. This is a great plant for little baby frogs or big frogs to get in underneath. Same as anything with a big leaf and damp environment. They love the shade. So we'll go back over to Luke now. So now we come into the stage where we've created all those frog-friendly areas underneath the pond. What we're going to do now is we're going to fill the pond slowly so we don't disrupt the gravel, we don't disrupt the logs and stuff. Some stuff might move if you fill it up too quick. We've actually got a big black hose here, and this is coming from the Koi Palace. We're in the Pond College Gardens with this one. We're putting in mature pond water, so it's a mixture of rainwater and tap water. If you're doing it out of the hose at home, you must use the pond detoxifier that comes in the kit to take out all of the harmful chemicals out of the tap water. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slowly start filling up this particular pond with the mature pond water, but if you imagine at home, you'd be filling it up with the garden hose. 3, 2, 1. So now what we're doing is we're allowing the pond to settle a little bit and we'll start doing the edge treatment. I'm also going to put in the ceratophyllum, but before that I'm going to net out any of the bark mulch and stuff from actually on the pond. So here we are, we've all finished, we've dusted down, we've washed everything down, we've made it all look amazing. All we need to do now is leave it a couple of days to settle in, let all the plants relax, let them all sit in, and we may even get a couple of frogs going in there. I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee before I get drowned like a rat. So now enjoy the Any Pond showcase.
Don't know if you know this too. I'd rather be right here with you. Nothing else matters right now. It's just you and me.